To a dose of economy news, the International Monetary Fund is sounding the alarm. They warn the trade tensions between the U.S. and the rest of the world could cost the global economy $430 billion over the next 2 years. That's 0.5 percentage point in global GDP. The IMF says that America is especially vulnerable to an escalating tariff war. Trump raised the stakes last week in his trade fight with China, proposing 10% tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. That comes on top of 25% tariffs on other goods that were also imposed earlier this month. With me in studio, though, is the new CEO of the Ayn Rand Institute and the co-founder of the Ayn Rand Center of Israel, Tal Tsfany. Tal, thank you so much for being with us. Congratulations,
thank you very much.
By the way, on the new position. There is no doubt that the war on tariffs, it's escalating, a lot of rhetoric, and some of these tariffs being put in place.
Right.
How bad is it really, the idea that this trade war is amounting to hundreds of billions of dollars worth of extra taxes?
It can escalate to a point where everybody fights everyone and we get, a disaster out of nothing, basically. Because what are tariffs? It's basically a tax of two people, trading between borders. It's like you're buying from your neighbor orange juice and he's buying, cups from you. Yeah. And then you say, you buy from me the same amount that I buy from you. It just makes no sense. And this thing that Trump triggered, I think, is just bogus economics, at the core of it.
It seems a lot of Trump's anger comes down to one number in particular, and that's the $375 billion trade deficit. He uses that figure over and over again.
Exactly.
The tariffs really, will that make a dent in any way?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What does it mean to have a deficit? It basically means that we buy more merchandise than Chinese are buying American merchandise, which is great for us. It's, cheaper, easier for us. We give them cash. They give us goods. What do they do with the cash? They invest. They actually take the prices even lower, which benefits Americans, or they invest, and so on and so forth. It doesn't even, if you think about logically, what does it mean to have a zero deficit? That they buy the same as much as we sell, and and they buy what we sell and they sell what we buy? It just doesn't make any economical sense.
In general, for Western democracies, let's say even here in Israel, but particularly with Trump in America, the idea of a protectionist economy to protect the American worker doesn't,
right.
I mean, even in a capitalist society, what about that sentiment that you have to protect American industry?
Right. Now, so if you look at reality, actually, most jobs are lost to automation, not to, jobs going overseas. And if they're going overseas and you're outpriced and you're working in Israel and someone in China can make it for less, that's great. Now you can maybe market the goods.
It's not great for an American worker.
Oh, it is, because they can have another job, maybe higher level job, to market, distribute the Chinese goods or the Chinese plastic toys that are coming. And if you look at it, unemployment is at its lowest rate. The real problem we have is a skill gap. It's not really the number of jobs we have. And I think Trump is misleading everyone, trying to avoid the real problem, which we have real problems with China. It is not deficit.
Obviously, Tal, the United States of America, China, some of the world's biggest global and growing economies, but you're also the co-founder of the Ayn Rand Institute Center of Israel.
Right.
What is it like here in Israel? This very issue, the idea of tariffs, which exists specifically on cars. You have a car over your shoulder. What is it like here in Israel?
So if you think about why everybody's talking about why the milk is so expensive and the cottage cheese is so expensive.
Very expensive.
It's very expensive. Well, why? Because of tariffs. That's it. Because there's a milk, tax, and there's the car taxes. If you really want to look at why things are expensive, just look at the tax and the customs. Customs is the way you impose this tax on people, and just say, why is milk coming from Turkey is more expensive? Why do we even need to tax it? Let everyone, including the Israeli farmers, compete with the global economy for the good of everyone.